Great.
Yeah, I want to hold?
Well, here.
No, really, I can't.
Like this?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll just hold.
Yeah.
He's going to hold it.
hold.
You have
All
to
right.
fix your...
Hi, Will here at Dad's office.
Oh, with who's?
Commissioner
Oh,
Aguilar.
nice to meet you, Diana Garcia.
Nice to meet you too.
I usually rely on the TV guys to have their mic breaks.
Yeah.
Okay. I can hold it.
We're gonna have to keep each other warm
Okay.
over here.
All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Commissioner, it's silly, I know, but if you could please state your name and title.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ready?
He said, please state your name.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today. My name is Frank J. Aguilar, 16th District Cook County Commissioner and a long life resident of Cicero. Voting is a universal right in this country. Beyond that, voting without intimidation, being fully comfortable in exercising that right. It's a paramount to free and fair elections. Unfortunately, the behavior of Cicero officials and their cooperation with ICE has cast a shadow over many residents' ability to feel free at the polls. The Trump administration was very clear on what they were going to do. Communities such as Cicero, where they remain obviously a target of ICE. Larry Dominic and Maria Punzo Arias and the entire Cicero administration could have prepared for this to protect Cicero residents and make sure that they feel safe to cast their ballots, but they choose not to. The fact that they did not lead to the two assumptions: one, that they have no ability to protect the residents, or two, that they see no problem with federal immigration agents violently attacking their own constituents. Neither of these options are acceptable. While Larry Dominic has a long a documented history of using racist and anti-immigrant rhetoric, it is truly disappointing that someone like Maria Punzo, an immigrant herself, also feels cooperating with ICE is acceptable. We have seen it in the public spaces, the quietness, the fear, which has prevented people from feeling safe to send their kids to school, to church, to the grocery stores, and support their local economy. They do not feel safe because they feel that Larry Dominic and the Cicero public officials do not care. But I do, and that is why I am being targeted by the political machine. I will speak against racism and hatred in every form, and I will continue to be an independent Democrat, not controlled by outside forces, and I will always fight for all the people that I serve. We must be even more diligent when it comes to elections, and it is clear for everyone that we will not stand for government officials creating an atmosphere where people they serve do not feel safe to vote, whether it is due to fear of ICE being at the polling locations with permission of Cicero officials or fear reprisal from voting against the current administration's preferred candidates. This will not stand. I am here today to say directly to the town of Cicero and this administration that they must stop failing their community and honor the charge of their office, which is the most basic level to protect the people they serve. I am here today to ask State's Attorney O'Neill Burke to commit in expanding efforts to ensure Cicero voters face no intimidation or unlawful detainment when exercising their right to vote. So now, I would like to introduce Cicero Committeeperson candidate Diana Garcia.
I'm just going to clip this. Is he okay?
Yep. Good. Kyla?
Yeah?
Nice to meet you. Finally. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just getting real close to you.
Okay, no worries.
Not too close.
No, you're good. Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Garcia. I am a lifelong Cicero resident, a community organizer, and a current candidate for Democratic Committeeperson in my hometown. I am here today to echo the ongoing concerns about voter intimidation and suppression in Cicero. For years, the Cicero Voters Alliance, led by the Larry Dominic team, has operated under its own set of rules throughout its more than 20-year tenure with little accountability. As a result, Cicero residents have too often been denied the free and fair elections that they deserve. During last year's election cycle alone, more than 100 calls were made to the State Board of Elections reporting actions by members of this political organization. As for the first time in over a decade, they faced a serious challenge that threatened their power. We witnessed precinct captains stockpiling town resources such as recycling bags, parking passes, and other municipal materials in their vehicles to distribute in ways that could influence voters. My current opponent, Maria Punzo Arias, I lost my track here, was also allegedly heard in 2013, according to an official from the state's attorney's office, instructing a group of senior citizens to deliver their mail-in ballots to her office rather than mailing them or dropping them off at the Cook County Clerk's office. She was reportedly then interviewed by the state's attorney's office on this issue. Cicero's population is nearly 90% Latino, the largest Latino concentration of Latino residents anywhere in Illinois. Because of this, our community faced a heavy presence of ICE last year, while our local administration remained silent and inactive in defending our residents. As we approach Election Day, I call on the Illinois Attorney's Office to maintain an active presence in Cicero, to ensure voters are protected from intimidation and suppression. It is also critical that safeguards are in place, particularly concerns about potential ICE presence at polling locations, as they have already begun to surface under the Trump administration's broader immigration enforcement posture. Cicero deserves better. Our residents deserve elected officials who stand up for the people they represent, govern with integrity, and take the necessary steps to protect the integrity of our elections and restore trust in local government. I make this call to action not only as a candidate, but as a lifelong Cicero resident and community organizer who is committed to building a fairer and more accountable future to our community. Thank you so much, and I would like to present Congressman Luis Gutierrez, who represented Cicero for 26 years.
Thank you, Thank you, Diana, Alderman of the 25th Ward. Thank you so much. We are calling upon the state's attorney of Cook County to use her resources to make sure that the suppression and intimidation of voters on Election Day, which is a standard in Cicero. It's not new, it's the standard. Larry Dominic is not only a misogynist and racist, anti and xenophobic, he wants to make sure that he uses bullies and bully tactics on Election Day to intimidate the people. If there's one thing that is sacred, listen, I was the congressman. I had to call upon the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department in order to have a town hall meeting in Cicero. But there is no civil rights under Trump. Who do you call? We call on the state's attorney of Cook County to use her resources to make sure that there's a fair election in Cicero on March 17th and that the goons of Larry Dominic don't prevail that day by intimidating and suppressing the voters. Look, I've spoken to thousands of residents in Cicero. Yes, thousands of them. One thing I can say that permeates the Latino community, especially the immigrant Mexican community of Cicero, is fear. The fear that for generations he has put on them. It's not new. I mean, even a congressman can't have a town hall meeting in Cicero without the bullies of Larry Dominic. And we have to remember, this is a regime in Cicero where Larry Dominic has caused the taxpayers millions of dollars in sexual harassment claims made against his administration. So he's a misogynist. He says that Mexicans are wetbacks. Let me say that again. He calls us wetbacks. Well, guess what, Larry Dominic? We're here to stay. He said we should put all the Mexicans on a rocket ship and send them to China. He said Mexico is not good enough. I don't want them to find their way back to Cicero. What kind of racist system do you have in Cicero when the town president of a district that is 90% Latino, and of that 90% immigrant? Yeah, there are a few Puerto Ricans like me that live in Cicero, but we're very few and scarce. And 600 people have disappeared in Cicero, and not a word from Larry Dominic. As a matter of fact, Larry Dominic can teach Trump a thing or two about hatred, about bigotry, about prejudice, about how it is that you destroy an immigrant community. We all thought that there's more genius in hatred and bigotry than Donald Trump. Well, guess what? Larry Dominic is worse than Donald Trump, and he has been there for years. Diana Garcia, a young woman, Latina, born and raised in Cicero. And Frank Aguilar, I'm so proud of you for taking on the machine. He knows all their darkest secrets. He knows who they are. And he has said no to their racist regime. And now he's paying the price because they're coming after him. And Diana Garcia, Diana, you should feel proud.
I sure do.
You challenged Larry Dominic, and he's such a coward that he refused to run.
Sure.
Now, Larry Dominic has never refused to run before. He knows the clock is ticking for his demise.
Yes.
And what we need is the state's attorney on election day to be there to protect the voters against the intimidation and the suppression tactics of the voters of Cicero. Last thing, I know Larry Dominic. I was the congressman there for 26 years. I've spoken to the residents. They live in fear. State's attorney, bring freedom to Cicero. Bring your lawyers and bring your staff and make sure that there's an election in which everybody gets to vote. Because we can't go down to the Dirksen building and ask the feds, because the feds are not going to protect us. They're part of Donald Trump's machinery, and they're never going to protect us. So, Diana Garcia, one last thing. I'm so proud of Diana Garcia. She would, as a Latina woman, she would never take the endorsement of Larry Dominic. Any Latina woman that takes the endorsement of Larry Dominic has no self-respect and no love for her Latino immigrant community. And with that, I end.
Maybe, and now 25th Ward, the Sigcho-Lopez, the alderman from Chicago.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Buenas tardes and good afternoon. I first want to thank you for coming together. For a long time, we've been governed by the fisc. We've been governed, especially in Cicero, by people who don't represent our interests. And I'm very proud to stand with this coalition of people. In fact, former Congressman Gutierrez was one of the first people who supported me when I ran for alderman in the 25th Ward, fighting the same cause against bigotry, misogyny, racism, and to make sure that we have representatives like Commissioner Frank Aguilar, like soon-to-be elected Democratic...
Que viva Aguilar!
Que viva Frank Aguilar! And the soon-to-be Democratic Committee woman, Diana Garcia. They are the independent leadership that we need, and I'm very excited to see the intergenerational efforts to make sure that we come together as a community, like in Cicero, where 90% of our community are Mexican American, Latinos, who are surviving terror, who work hard day after day just to make ends meet and deserve real representation, deserves people who work and fight just as hard for them. That's what I'm proud to stand here with Commissioner Frank Aguilar, who has shown independence and courage to stand up in the midst of darkness, of terror, of racism, of attacks that we witness ourselves in the streets. when masked individuals came to terrorize us, when came to pick up children, to shoot at our neighbors, to come and separate children from their families and left even children in their vehicles. Child endangerment, which is illegal in our state, yet being normalized. So we are proud to stand here for those who stand with us, for us. Commissioner Frank Aguilar should not be punished for being independent, for standing up for our neighbors, and to be unapologetic about demanding more of Cicero Township as commissioner, and to demand justice by the state's attorney, and to be proud to be standing with our community. So we're proud to stand with Commissioner Frank Aguilar because he's standing with us as an independent voice, and that's what we need in this moment. And also very, very, very proud to stand here with Diana Garcia. She is the young leadership that we need in this moment. In a time of darkness and fear and racist attacks and fascist attacks, it is very uplifting to see Diana Garcia to have the courage to step up and represent in despite of the challenges and the attacks and the voting suppression. So I'm very proud of Diana Garcia to be the young leader that we need in this moment. We need to empower those leaders. We need to support them, and we're gonna stand with them. This is the same place in Cicero where Martin Luther King was received with stones. And yet, he had the audacity to dream that one day we'll come back with the ballot and demand more and justice for all the residents. Today, Cicero is 90% Latino, Mexican American, and we will make the difference. We just remember the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson just last week. And I remember Congressman Jonathan Jackson last election coming and supporting Diana Garcia and Esteban and the many leaders in Cicero because they believe that we must keep hope alive and we must protect the integrity of elections. That's what we've been discussing now in City Council in Chicago, and that's what we need to do. We need to protect the election. We need not to suppress the vote, but encourage people to come out. We want leaders like Diana to go and now encourage young people in Cicero to register to vote, to be the voice of their parents who are now afraid to go to school, to go to hospital appointments. They're afraid of coming out even to work. But yet, they see the light when we see young people at the door, working hard. I see how hard they're fighting. I see how hard they're door knocking, making phone calls, just like Commissioner Aguilar. So we will stand with them, and we asking State's Attorney Eileen Borkas, we ask him, and we'll be asking very soon in the same place on Thursday, to put for a special prosecutor so that there's no impunity when agents come and terrorize us. And the same light, we ask the state's attorney to expand her powers to make sure that there's no voter intimidation and suppression. As the congressman mentioned, this is not new to Cicero. But what is new, there's a new blood in our communities. There's an intergenerational coalition forming to demand real representation, and this is what it looks like. I am very proud and excited to stand up with Commissioner Aguilar, former Congressman Garcia, former Congressman Gutierrez, and also Diana Garcia as our next. I'm actually confusing because we see the same passion and the same fire. And the next committee woman for the Democratic Party in Cicero, Diana Garcia. Let's protect the vote, let's protect the integrity, and let's make sure that people come out to vote to defeat racism, to defeat bigotry, to defeat the billionaire class trying to split us and pitch us against each other. Let's keep hope alive because we are somebody, as Reverend Jackson used to say. We are revolutionary lovers because we care and we love our community. So thank you so much, and let's support Commissioner Frank Aguilar and Diana Garcia as our community women. Thank you, former Congressman Gutierrez, for standing with us and never forgetting our community. Thank you, thank you all for your time today.
Alderman, I believe the state's attorney's office did say last night that she was reluctant to bring in a special prosecutor. So is this part of an ongoing dialogue?
It is, and this is what we need, the power of the people. We need the power of the people to keep pushing. She was hesitant, remember, when she said that she could not do much about ICE enforcement. But now she's saying that she needs to look into the issue. There's nothing to look into this issue. It is very clear that we are being attacked. This is affecting our elections. This is scaring people. Trump has said that he's going to have ICE agents at the polls. We need to believe in the first time. And isn't, as former Congressman Gutierrez said, this is not new to Cicero. They done this. They have suppressed the vote. They have intimidated voters. But this is the time where we need all elected officials to meet the rhetoric with actions. There is action that the state's attorney can take, and the time is now. We need to protect the integrity of the elections. We need to protect our community, and it starts by expanding those powers to make sure that the voice of the people is reflected in those precincts.
Would a special prosecutor, I know maybe this would be a question for her, would it come from her office, or you're saying bringing someone from the outside? How would you envision that would work if it does happen?
Well,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She can choose.
Yeah.
But protect the voters of Cicero. Look, we have a young Latina who has shown the courage to take on a racist misogynist. What a beautiful world. What a great democracy America can be when you take a hateful, prejudiced, bigoted, racist misogynist and you replace them with a young Latina who has the courage of her convictions and can bring in new voters. The Democratic Party asked, why don't Latinos come out to vote? Because we don't support people like Diana Garcia. And when people like Commissioner Aguilar are punished, we say reward them. Reward them for standing up for our community.
Right on.
So we're intergenerational here. Obviously, I'm the old generation. I've been at this a little longer. I could be their dad.
Maybe not my dad.
That's the difference between us and them.
Ms. Garcia, can you
Yes.
step up a little bit?
Yes, of course.
Are you okay? Yeah, okay. Yeah, are you seeing specific instances in Cicero where voters are saying, or potential voters are saying, I'm staying inside? Because
Definitely.
of fear of ICE.
Certainly, yeah. Even, I mean, I've been knocking on doors since August, and just getting, going through the petition process itself, people are afraid to come to the doors. I've been talking to neighbors through their windows, the windows closed. And even then, I have to be very mindful of, how hard I knock. What am I wearing? Am I wearing, inviting clothes? What's my demeanor, right? And so those are the things that I've been incredibly mindful of throughout this campaign, and I'm still experiencing it now as I knock on doors, and as we're 7 days away from Election Day. So this is something that is incredibly important, especially in our community of Cicero, given that we're the largest community with Latino population in the entire state of Illinois, and so we need more emphasis, we need more support from the state in this election now more than ever.
Yeah,
Commissioner?
I had a huge billboard on Austin and Ogden, and I was told that the owner was intimidated and they brought it down. You don't see my signs in Cicero because when I was talking to the residents, they're afraid to put my signs up there. Literally told me, we're going to vote for you, but we don't want any trouble with the administration. That's the kind of behavior they have. So if you go to Cicero, you're barely going to see my signs because they bring them down. My ads have been graffitied in Cicero. So that just shows you stand up against bigotry and hatred and racism, you will be intimidated in Cicero. And I stand strong with the people. I will not tolerate any form of racism, any form of bigotry, and any form of hatred.
Frank Aguilar has said he will no longer be somebody subjected to the power of Larry Dominic.
That's right.
That he will speak truth to power. And even risking his own re-election, he could be re-elected easily, facing no opposition. Instead, he stood up to the racist machine in Cicero. And as the alderman said, he shouldn't be punished. People who stand up for justice, for freedom, for women's rights, that's what's on the ballot in Cicero this March 17th. They should be rewarded. They should be congratulated. They should be elevated. I'm so proud to be here with these incredible leaders and just say that I'm going to make sure I'm there on March 7th.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you.
So I'll let you go. I know we're all cold. But
Yes,
we're
yes.
not seeing the dramatics like we saw a few months ago in terms of ICE activity. But is that still something that you're hearing a lot about in Chicago neighborhoods? ICE and fear of ICE?
Yes, I mean the fear has not gone away. The threats continue as well. They continue.
They'll be back.
Yeah, they'll be back. The matter is when, and that's what we need to protect. Our communities, we need to protect the secrecy of voting. Our elected representatives must be elected by the people and should not be afraid of coming out to vote for those who they believe on. So that's what we are now. Tomorrow, and the City Council will be discussing this in a special City Council meeting about protecting democracy, creating democracy zones at the precinct polls. That's what we want to make sure that in Cicero, because of the lack of action by Larry Dominic, we have now people who are stepping out, they're pushing, and that's what we're asking the state's attorney, Eileen Burke, to take action, because we got to believe in the first time. When they said that they are going to suppress the vote, we need to do everything we can to protect the secrecy of the vote, the integrity of the election, and for that we need to take action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you. Thank you.
That was great. I think
Thank you.
Here's a copy of my speech.
Oh, thank you.